we're on stream. And
Oh,
let me see. I know I fucked up already. Let's see if this even works. Hold on, I'm not actually getting. Okay, yeah. Now we have an excellent collection connection. Let's see to IRC D&D. We're on Twitch. I'm even on Facebook. Jesus. Yeah, if you watch me here on Facebook, what are you doing? The profile is just a dead shell of buy my book, buy my book. Um, oh, while we're at it, buy my book. The amazing fucking Xeros right there. I've been proofreading the new book all week,
good story.
and I want to die. Really, I think I put in like 10 hours of proofreading yesterday, and like 4 or 5 today, and I'm just so fucking tired. You would not believe how many errors we missed in our edit of Lemon Maybe. There's like about
Oh no.
500 or 600 different errors that just like made it into the manuscript. And every time I change one, I've got to change it in the print manuscript, change it in the ebook manuscript, and feel like an idiot for missing. It's just like words omitted and like backwards. I'm starting to think I have dyslexia or something. But
I had it as a childhood disorder.
mhm.
I mean, I still kind of do, but my dad had it too.
Yeah, I really don't even have an
But it did. I
excuse.
mean, it really did. I did get better.
Yeah. Still wearing the dresses though, right?
Still wearing a dress.
All right. You got to stay
Still
true
awake at
to
night.
you got to stay true to your heart. All right, hold on. Let me let LRH know that IRC D&D.
Oh, we are live indeed.
Let's see if and then let me also I'm not even going to pump
God, my
it in
head is so
Discord.
lopsided.
You can find out about it later. Oh yeah. Yeah, we were all trying not to say something about it, Logic, but also we didn't give a shit.
Yeah, I don't care either. It's that
No.
motherfucker's lopsided as fuck, which means my brain is lopsided.
Yeah, man.
If you think about
Lumpy brain.
That's why you're such a rabid leftist. All right, so this is the 16th edition. We had just a little flashback session last week where our characters harken back to the days of yore at the inn where this all began. And now we're getting back to our main narrative. And Zartek, can you remind us of exactly how we got here? Because I think everybody has forgotten. It's been like 3 months since we've done this.
Yeah, for sure. So we had come up to this. We were on our way to the Darameus, and we came upon this fortress. I guess it's a fortress, right?
Yep.
And we fought this, or rather, Logic and Kuntz fought this two-tongued sorcerer who could tell two different spells at once. Very elite. And after we had defeated that guy and ransacked the fortress there, we found our way down into this dungeon, chasing the Worth sorcerer that we had that Logic almost killed a half a dozen times or whatever, but never actually killed. So he escapes. That Worth sorcerer escapes, and we had caught him talking to what appeared to be a corpse in a cell in this fortress. Turns out it wasn't a corpse at all, but was a desiccated man who actually gave us the name of the warlock. That Worth Warlock Riptor was his name. We fed him some good berries. He told us he had been locked in there for 80 years, and he already looked pretty old. His name was Crozius, a druid that I knew had disappeared kind of 80 years before then. We tell him what's going on in the outside world with the blight and the destruction of the world. He explains to us that this was the work of the Worth sorcerers who were trying to catch a comet. Let him know, and it appears that comet is jizzed all over the place with its red sauce. He tells us comet has the seed of something terrible in it, and that he too was hunting down and assassinating these sorcerers that were trying to call forth this comet or to catch. He told us Worth have a prophecy that when the south burns, Worth will bring forth great cleansing. Logic explained something about the laughing star kind of having told us about this, but the druid, he didn't explicitly say anything, but he didn't seem to care for the mention of the laughing star. We carry him back upstairs, lay him to bed, and when we do so, the rain outside ended, and that was that.
All right. And so this brings us to the very early morning before the four of you are to set off for the Deremaeus. So if you're joining us for the first time, go back. You missed everything. But
Way
so
back.
all the way to the immediate left of your screen is Angie, our ranger, with her animal companion Fisk. I don't see Fisk there. Maybe he's like hiding in his cage. And then Kuntz is our magician with his animal companion Glitch, who is right on screen.
She knew you're talking about her.
And she pops up and like she hears her name through the headphones there. And then the sadly friendless Logic, the demon slayer, he's our thief. And then Zartet, the proprietor of Goodberry Farms, a druid, and our master archivist. And then I'm Zach Z. Wisey telling you this tale. I've been doing this for a long time now. I'm excited to see what comes of our adventure.
Oh yeah, a couple things. Or I guess just one thing.
Mhm.
That originally this was planned for 8 episodes.
Oh, yeah,
We're
yeah.
at 16 now.
Yeah, it's true.
Right.
Like, anything
We
episodic
started
runs on
6
forever.
months ago. Holy cow!
I know.
July 19th.
Well, to be fair, like our attendance has been like a little sporadic, but yeah, it's been a good time had by all there. So let's talk a little bit about your adventure. So before the dawn, the next morning, you guys wake up and to the sound of thunder, and immediately you worry that it's going to be more of the poisonous red rain because you've set off. You plan to set off the next day, but when you get up, the thunder seems distant, rolling over the bay. Hold on, real quick. Jess, what is that dinging noise in the background? Who's doing
It's
that?
me. I'm sorry. I admit it. I'm
right.
sorry.
All right,
I've turned it off.
Make it disappear, please. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, like an annoying dinging over the hills and far away. No.
I'm so
in any
sorry.
case- Don't worry about it. So the thunder is distant, somewhere over the hills of Iran, and the seas look gray and disturbed. And it's just before the dawn. Everyone is getting ready, like just doing final checks on their gear and equipment, hooking up Fisk to his barding, and and just preparing. So, for those of you who have not been to this world before, what beyond this keep is the Deremaeus, a sometimes bridge that connects the 3 islands with the mainland of Iran. And so the way that the Deremaeus works is it's essentially a large coral reef, like shoals, that stretches from one island to the other. And it's thick enough that you can drive 2 wagons side by side across it. Normally, at high tide, the Deremaeus is covered by water completely, and it's almost totally impassable. Any ship that tries to make it across will be sucked into a whirlpool or just smashed up on the shoals. But for a period from about 3/4 to the low tide, down to low tide, it forms a bridge where you can essentially drive wagons and supplies and so forth from the mainland to these islands. And the islands are not fully self-sufficient. They rely on trade with the mainland to stay afloat. So when this all went down and the Deremaeus became impassable, it was the beginning of the end for this island of Moria and its people. And throughout the whole campaign, the characters have seen the devastation wrought by the destruction of this vital artery. So essentially, you have planned to set off at just the beginning of low tide, when the water is low enough that you can begin to walk across the Deremaeus. And from there, you will have 24 hours to make it either across the Deremaeus or to whatever is causing the problem, and then to make it back if you want to survive. Like when the water floods in, I think no spell on this earth will save you. So one thing to keep in mind. So the party is prepared and is ready. Is there anything else that you want to do at the keep before you depart?
We're gonna store our gold and silver and all this.
Okay.
Is there like a safe or something that we could use, or a strong box in this fortress?
So
Or hide
yeah,
it?
there's absolutely. You've found numerous caches and so forth, or caches, where you could secrete your valuables and so forth. And also, Crozius is still here, recovering upstairs.
Yes.
You could leave some food and water for him if you choose, or you can abandon the old man to his fate.
I mean, has he already like given us all the advice he can give there? Like, as far as this goes, is he just
You could always ask him and find out.
yeah?
And
All right,
also,
well,
yeah.
I'm going to tell him, what we're up to then.
Okay.
So
So
we're going to be
Zartet,
heading out.
you ascend the staircase to where you carried Crozius last night after just the encounter with Riptor, and he told you everything there. And when you go into his room, immediately you're struck by how still it is, and you see that his body has hardened into wood. He's just laying in the bed where you placed them,
I
and
knock on him.
his body has petrified. Well, wait. And what you see springing from the center of his chest is the sprout of a new tree, just one sprig, sort of spiraling up. So it looks like his body has completely petrified. And from your druidic lore, you realize that if you essentially plant his body, he will grow into a mighty tree. There's still time left before the dawn to carry him outside the keep and bury him if you would like.
Do I know if he would want to be buried here?
Yeah, as a druid,
He just wants to be buried
yeah,
in the earth.
he wants to be
period.
returned to the earth and begin the process of purification.
Wow.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I like.
yeah.
What kind of is he, like a law? So he's just a body made of wood. He
Yeah,
didn't
his
turn
entire
into-
body has turned into plant cellulose, and there is a sprig of new growth coming from him. Again, he only weighs maybe about 70 pounds total before he petrified, and he's lost a lot of water since then.
Mhm.
So literally, you could carry him with one hand if you wanted to. He just feels like driftwood.
I was gonna see if I could fashion him into a cudgel.
This would
Oh,
be
that's a great
almost.
I don't think that would
It
be
would be
Unholy
almost
sacrilege.
tremendously sacrilegious. Yeah.
right.
Yeah. You would become reviled by every druid upon the earth if they learned of your dark deed. Also, there's a request from Jordan O in our audience here. He wants to know people's cats. So Angie's
Love
new
Jordan
cat is named K10 or Kitten, and then Kuntz's cat is named Glitch. Okay. So in the early hours before the dawn, there's one last test to be done, and you lay Crozius to rest, burying him on a likely hummock just outside the entrance to the keep.
Great. Yeah, I'll say some solemn words and bid him a fond adieu.
I'm sure he would have been happy to know that one of his own order laid him to his final resting place. And it's crazy that he survived on for 80 years in captivity, only to perish after telling you what he knew. But such
I
is
was
life.
gonna ask him if he could help me with wild shape.
Yeah, he probably would have
No, I think
if he had the time.
Just as a point of order, I think I did get it anyway. Like I got that at this level.
You should get this at this level, but you do need druidic training to attain the wild shape. So it's something that you are powerful enough to do, but you have not yet been inducted into that sacred knowledge.
Damn.
I know, right? Well, maybe you'll meet a druid along the way to the Terramate.
Do we know, are there like markers along the path, along the Darameus, so we know how far we have to go and we
So
know
you've been across
how
it
far we've
before.
gone?
Um, there are
Oh.
there are not markers there, but because all of you have traveled to the mainland before, you'll have a good idea of how close you are to Midway, which is the traditionally it is a meeting place, sort of like a triangular area at the where the three bridges diverge there, and it's customary for people who meet at the Midway to forgive any grievances that have happened before. It's just like an old sort of trader's tradition that is cropped up. Just if you pass somebody when you're at the Midway, whatever you're angry about them for is meant to be forgiven. But you don't know if that'll be the case this time around. So the party
Do we
is
know if
prepared.
there's? Sorry, one last question.
Mhm.
About the Darameus.
Yes.
Is there a point of no return on there? Like, is there would there be a sign as to like a point of no return? Like, would it be that important of a place considering the nature of it?
That's a
So
good point.
generally, it takes 12 hours to walk from the Darameus, from one side of the Darameus to the other. Okay. And if you don't, so essentially, if it's midnight, if you get to where it's midnight and you have not turned back and gone the other way, it's over. You can't, no matter how you run, you won't make it back in time. So just essentially when the moon is directly overhead, that's when you need to turn back. And if you haven't turned back by then, make your peace with, the spirit of nature or the laughing star or whoever you pray to. Because
Makes sense.
yeah, you're done
Is that
for.
because the whirlpool will get us?
Yeah, essentially
Yeah.
the tide will crash in, and either the sharks or the whirlpool or one of numerous other denizens of the sea will probably be your undoing, and there's no one that can rescue you.
There's no like friendly dolphins.
I don't know. Maybe they're there. You could be the first to
Past
find them.
friends.
Yeah, generally, people who get caught out there are people who they break a leg and nobody's willing to carry them on. Their wagon breaks down and they're lost trying to save their goods. A lot of things of that nature over time, or somebody who was just too old to make it across the Darameus that tried against advice to like make a pilgrimage or something like that.
What is the? I apologize. What is the surface of the coral bridge like? Because
It's quite rough, actually.
I mean, is it?
Yeah. Essentially, it has been beaten down by years and years of travel, but of course, it's always growing back. And in fact, it's renewed a little bit every time that the tide comes in. These little microscopic creatures will start to rebuild their habitat. So, in spite of the fact that everything is slick and wet most of the time, you can get good traction on it. But definitely, it's nothing you would want to lie down on. It's essentially like walking on a big block of pumice, but a little bit stronger, more calciferous.
So no boardwalk.
Yeah, there's no boardwalk because it would just get swept away and annihilated.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a long way. It's essentially a 12-hour walk. And so you can reason that a 12-hour walk, doing a little bit of math, it's probably about 4 leagues from shore to shore. Well, we could talk about it all day, but the sun is beginning to rise.
Do it.
And if you want to set off
Man
across
of
the
action.
Darameus, now is the time.
We gotta go, boys.
We're gonna do like one of those all hands in, do a team thing. Let's go.
Let's do it. I.
Okay. So as the sun begins to rise, you take the first steps across the Darameus. You like sort of walk out onto the beach, and you can watch the water retreating and the Darameus rising up like a big silvery serpent. It doesn't go straight. It winds and goes back and forth. It's a thing of nature. As the sea retreats, you begin to smell the rich decay of just billions upon billions of creatures dying as the sun falls onto them and they're exposed to water. So if you've ever been to a beach and just smelled like what it's like afterward, it's an unforgettable smell. And at least here, the reddish tinge of the water has somewhat retreated. So for a moment, at the dawn, when the sun is rising and glinting off of the waves, it seems that everything is right. But as the sun begins to rise and you trudge out onto it, the crimson hue that has poisoned the ocean around you becomes more and more apparent, and it's clear that something is very, very wrong with this sea. So Fisk the bear initially seems very unenthused about the prospect of walking out onto this, Angie. But after, and in fact, initially doesn't want to go out onto the bridge and kind of growls at you when you're heading out there. He thinks that you're crazy for going out. But when he sees that you're intent on going, he eventually follows you. But yeah, he does not like this crazy coral bridge. The bear has a little bit more sense than to venture out onto this thing. But at the same time, oh no. Oh. That's about right there, actually. Yeah, very, yeah, that atoll is really where it's at. So the four of you set off. Five of you, I guess, with the bear. The five of you set off, keeping a careful eye on the clouds overhead. Because at any point, they could swoop in and you could all be dissolved in that red rain. But there's nothing that you can do now. It's essentially a leap of faith heading out here.
Is a laughing star visible?
At the moment, everything is clouded over. So you keep looking up to the sky, hoping for like a glimpse of the star that has been burning bright even in daylight. But so far, that area all to the south is just blanketed with clouds.
Oh, I have a question.
Yeah.
This is a little bit late, but the badge that I stole from Pierre Black, do I still have it? Sorry.
It was so long ago.
It was.
Well, I don't know. Now, do you think that your character could have kept from gambling that away all this time?
I would.
It's
prison
it's
wallet
kind of
that.
believable that a rogue would have a secret like that.
No, I'm going to say that you've kept that keepsake to this very day, and if you felt like it, you could pin it to your breast right now at the start of the conclusion of your journey.
Sure. Let's do it.
The badge of office, once worn by Pierre Black, no longer.
Set out. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to proudly take it out and set it on my chest.
Regarding, oh, where'd you get that?
Well, everyone's morale is slightly buoyed by the sight of this ancient keepsake. Nobody can believe that Logic has kept this stupid thing for so long. Okay. Well, normally, by this point, you would have met many travelers as you were going across the Darameus, but today it is gray and cold out there. You're just a chill wind whips across, and as you're moving forward, you begin to see clouds of birds wheeling overhead.
Normal-sized birds?
Well, so your journey has taught you to beware the monstrous gulls and demon. All kinds of things have come at you from the sky, but they seem to be keeping a distance. It's difficult to tell, but they don't. Their flight does seem altered. So these are just big swarms of birds staying at the outside of your vision, and none are really coming in close enough to tell whether they are monster birds or whatever at this point. But you don't like the look of them. I'll say that much. So
Okay.
this continues throughout the morning. So we're going to keep track of how many hours have elapsed as you've gone across your journey, because once it gets to 12 hours, it's time to turn back if you have not been able to make a go of it thus far. So,
sorry, just to make sure I'm clear on that.
Yeah.
You said if it's been 12 hours, we should have turned back. So that means across all the way, it's 24 hours?
Yeah. So let's essentially 12 hours is your halfway mark. So the way that it works is you're setting off right now. Dawn right now is at 7 a.m. Right? The high tide will be complete at 7 a.m. the next day. Right? So essentially you have 24 hours where, although honestly, like it's going to start, you will want to be back by about 6 o'clock, just depending. So essentially, if we make it to 7 p.m. tonight, that's the point where half of your time is gone, and then you should have marked
the tide
how far
comes
you've
all
gone.
at once.
Yeah, the tide comes very swiftly. Well, it's just rising the whole time, and it gets to a point.
The moon's right over it. It just like all the water just kind of comes up.
Okay.
And there's a fair amount of turbulence too, because these vast coral bridges and so forth, they're not just here. There are other bridges that are lower, connecting the other islands and shoals and so forth, and just like a tremendous crashing of water heralds this whole the whole rise. It's quite dramatic to watch.
Way more sense now.
Okay.
So here's another question too. I'm sorry. Since this is essentially, since the ocean suddenly gets low, I'm assuming, can we see all the way to the horizon, like 20 or 30 kilometers out?
You can see quite a ways here, but like I said, it's an overcast day, so to the south it's very difficult to see. You can definitely see further in the sea, but we're talking about a drop here. Like the total tide drop is probably about 10 meters, so the sea is falling by about 30 feet.
Huh. Okay.
And this is normal tidal action for this part of Western Iran.
That's like the most extreme on Earth.
And there's some spot on Earth where it gets that wild.
Spots.
But here on Arcaday, it's like that all over the lake.
So Fisk doesn't like this then?
No, Fisk is not liking this. And from time to time, it's necessary to ply him with like a berry or a bit of dried fish or something to keep him going. Because a few times it just like turns back and growls like back the way you came. And unfortunately, you're not having it. So are
the fish? I'm sorry.
Yeah, 1 hour has elapsed. And then you can ask your question.
Yeah, let's get going.
Yeah. Let's concentrate on that.
No, so 1 hour has elapsed, and so far there's been no attack or any strange thing. What was your question about the fish?
Is the sea life completely altered, or are there like forms here and there that are like a normal fish?
So far everything has been dead along the way. There normally, as the Derameus retreats, you'll see some extremophiles that specialize in essentially, you'll have barnacles where they'll cover themselves over to try and weather the crashing of the tide and so forth. You'll have some sea grasses that have washed up. You'll have fish that didn't make it out in time that are stranded, and there are some tidal pools where there are a lot of strange creatures that pop up. But so far, you haven't really seen much life there. So it seems like a lot has been poisoned by the strange algal Red Sea there. But as you move from the first hour to the second, you start to see a profusion of out at sea, just a lot of silvery forms sort of drifting over the sea in great billowing clouds. Just all manner of them. It looks like sort of sodden grain floating on the surface of the sea, which is growing increasingly red as you go further out.
So silvery creatures flopping around.
Yeah, as you get closer, you start to see that there are just hordes and hordes of jellyfish. They must be spawning at a phenomenal rate, but just essentially, like the whole ocean is choked with these silvery jellyfish, and you're starting to see.
Dangerous jellyfish?
Well, I don't know. You could always wade down there and find out.
Oh,
There,
no, I'm not.
the sea is still continuing to drop as you're moving out here, so it's a very dangerous time to get down there in the water. Also, you're starting to see more and more anemone forms sort of exposed by the tide dropping there. And to Angie and Kuntz and Logic, they just seem normal. But Zartet, to you take a look at these anemone, and immediately things are very wrong to you. There are forms where normally there should be like one or two or three. You see starfish where they would normally have like 5 arms, but the arms have branched out and branched again, so that they'll just have, in some cases, like 100 different fingers coming off of one starfish. And the fish that you're starting to see washing up seem altered as well. Their sides are bulging. There are chancers all over them. And in some cases, the fish will have started growing, like at additional eyes, or their fins will have elongated into big sort of fins. Normally, short fin fish have like these long, shredded, short fins. So some effect is altering the natural sea life of this area. So
I make sure to let my less wise cohorts here know that these animals don't appear right.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen these kinds of fish, but they don't look like that.
Weird fish.
Check out this cat. Oh, amazing.
Comes.
Yeah, so Jordan O was tripped out by the change of your background. He's like, when did your background change? What the fuck, dude? He's tripping right now. All right. So 2 hours have passed into your journey, and you're starting to make decent progress across the Daramaeus. A few dark forms are starting to swoop closer now, just inspecting the party there. And these, you can tell right away, are not normal birds. In some cases, they just seem to have like dangling talons or tails flying behind them, and you can see like many of them circling around you and darting closer, sometimes diving into the clouds to stay out of the way. The clouds continue to roll over, but thus far there's none of the poisonous red rain. Just everything is starting to be overcast.
Are they getting closer? Are they probing us?
They are
Is what I'm
indeed.
asking.
They are indeed probing the party
Okay.
there,
The-
and
Do
potentially.
they, can we tell what they are? Do they look like the demon gulls or the bat men that we've seen?
So they're staying like with the clouds overhead, and at the distance that they're at there, it's very difficult to make out their outlines there.
Okay.
But
I can tell they're probing, so they're
Yeah.
probing us.
Yeah, they
The
are
first
moving
second
closer.
that someone-
They appear to you, Zartet, to be more like winged men than birds.
Well, I'm gonna tell Zartet, or I mean, we all notice this, so I'm gonna tell Zartet, like, hey man, like the first second that one of those gets within range, I'm gonna take a shot at it.
Okay. Yeah, you guys. So you and Angie
With my bow.
can have your bows at the ready.
Well, I'm like giving them a good hard look up there, right?
Yeah,
I'm gonna say these aren't the birds. These are These are those demon bat guys,
Mm-hmm.
as far as I could tell. I could see their little dicks hanging out.
Ah, no worries, man. I'm the demon fucking slayer, bro.
So, as you move into your third hour of trekking across the Daramaeus, now you start to see very severe signs of change. In places, like the coral is jutting into spiny formations. You'll just have whole ridges that have grown up on the Daramaeus, and this is much more than the natural growth you would see even if people had abandoned the Daramaeus for months and there were no wheels. This is something that should take months and months, but now you have these big spiny ridges growing all over the place. And woven around them, you're starting to see just strands of blood red kelp that you try to give them a wide berth because they are sort of glistening and writhing as they're moving along these like sort of spires of coral. So
Are we heading towards the middle of the Daramaeus? Like,
yeah,
are we
you're headed towards the midway of the Daramaeus, which is sort of like a big, and you're probably about 3 hours out of hard walking from the center of the Daramaeus.
So we can't really
How is
see
the app?
anything over there, right?
Say that again.
Is it a hole, like a divot, or?
Normally, it's just normally like this. This whole thing is normally about as flat as a table, right? It's continually growing up, but it's beaten down by the passage of people and some animals over the top of the coral thing. So normally it's table flat. You are right now, I want to say you're 3 or 4 miles away from Midway. Okay.
How is the atmosphere changing as we walk forward?
So the storm is growing more turbulent, but you seem to be at the center of it. So you can see clouds starting to race along, right and left, and beginning. It's almost as if you're at the start of a hurricane, and it's just starting to form on either side around. And all of you are constantly paranoid, like looking up for any sign of rain. But if it comes at this point, you're just done for, and there's nothing you can do about it. They're so while that's continuing on, you keep marching, keeping like a close, and it's the tension is terrible. Just waiting for something to swoop down and attack you. So you come to a spot which is known as the Very Narrows. And this is the narrowest section of the Daramaeus, where typically like only one cart can pass, essentially. And often people will get into arguments there. There was a famous dispute between two carts where neither was willing to give the other way, and they were blocking the whole Daramaeus for like a series of hours until ultimately both men were murdered by the other people on either side and thrown into the sea, and their carts were looted, just because neither was willing. Essentially, neither was willing to get out of the way, and eventually the other merchants and so forth just killed them and threw their bodies into the sea, and everybody said that it was just. So anyhow, tradition says that one must make way here, no matter their need, to the people coming from the mainland. But at this point, instead of making way, what you see is that the whole thing has been overgrown with huge anemones. So the anemones are just, some of them are almost as tall as you are, and all along them they have just like these violet and red spots that somewhat, it's essentially like an eye shape with a round dark crimson spot at the center of them, but they're not eyes. They're just like a strange pattern marking onto them. So it's completely overgrown with these things, and
Shit.
yeah, you'll have to find some way to get across it.
I'll pull security while you guys chop at it, because I don't really have Oh wait,
Mhm.
I forgot my singing dagger.
Okay, so do you want to get in
Would
there
my dagger be able to
and chop at these
start
things
cutting
with
my-
a dagger?
Well, I don't know. I'm asking you. Is that a stupid proposition?
Maybe
Sounds
not
like
to
it.
you, Zartet, or maybe not to you, but Zartet, you know from like your close relationship with the sea and so forth that these anemones are almost certainly poisonous. Right? Essentially,
Yeah.
all
Well,
anemones.
they have like lots of like undulating arms and
Yeah,
stuff.
they have
but
undulating
is
arms
that
and so forth.
happening outside of the
Tendrils.
water?
Yes, um they're a little bit dried out that you can see, but they're still alive. They're living things, and they
And they're
don't seem
huge.
alerted to your presence, but they are huge. They're taking up a huge amount of area,
Can we
and
get
they're partially
around them
translucent.
by crawling down?
The essentially um,
Take a lot
the
of dexterity.
the coral slopes down on either side pretty sharply. So you could attempt to climb along the coral, but there too, there are anemones on the side of the thing. So essentially, these anemones just present kind of a roadblock to you right now.
Shit. Cunts cast friends.
Yeah, maybe we could clear them out somehow, or I mean, there's no apparent path. Like we have to go through these, or
Yeah, you don't see any
destroy
way
them to the
through it.
side or something like
This
that.
is the first time that any of you have ever encountered that. It's not normal for anemones to grow this large.
And an anemone, this is some sort of organism.
So an anemone is
Yeah.
it's a colony. It's very similar to coral themselves. They're essentially colony animals where they're colonies of monocellular organisms that band together and make plant-like structures. Traditionally,
Superorganism.
If you've
Yeah.
seen like Finding Nemo, the clownfish live in the thing. All right, 1 second, I'll get you a picture.
Yeah.
Keep going, load.
so
Yeah, they do. The clownfish live there.
yeah, many
I'm sorry.
they're an important part of like a coral reef ecostructure. They're filter feeders for the most part, and they generally have stingers. That's exactly what they look like. They'll have stingers called nematodes,
Okay.
where they essentially will inject a toxin into something that comes close to them, and then the anemone will like feed off of the pieces of the thing that it kills. This is like very similar to what they look like there.
Normally they're like really small, like a little 3-inch fish or whatever could live in between those tendrils. This is like the size of us.
No. Yeah, well, they
How
stand
many
about
are
as tall
there?
as you are.
Like as far as we can see. Or
They
is it-
cover the
That's a good
whole
question.
of the narrow, and so the narrow is about 1 wagon wide, and it stretches for about 20 feet.
Oh, the narrow is only 20 feet long.
Yeah, it's only about 20 feet long, but it's still a big deal
Well, that's
because
not
you have to
such a
change
bad
traffic.
proposition.
No.
I was imagining a much
If
longer.
No,
I
no.
cast-
These
Maybe we could just chop it.
If I cast grease on them, do you think we could just slippery
Oh, good.
slide our way
I
through?
mean, I'm thinking we're just gonna have to be like very, very carefully walk between them.
they're
like-
clustered pretty close.
Whoa.
I don't think that you
Oh,
can.
we can't even walk between
I
them,
don't
you
think
said?
that you can
Okay.
walk between them without touching those tendrils.
Can,
I guess we got to
can we
get to
chop them
chopping.
down without touching?
Say that again.
Can we chop them down without getting stung? That's the question.
Okay.
I don't like hacking
I
your
wanna
way through
run a-
this is going to be like is going to be an endeavor. If you had like protective clothing and so forth, you could try to make it through there, but you're almost
Oh.
certainly going to get stung up if you try to.
Okay,
Does anybody
I
have
wanna
remove
try
poison?
something. I'm gonna use Angie's old bow and 1 arrow, and
Mhm.
sort of like poking it with the stick. I'm just gonna shoot 1 arrow at them just to see if something
Okay.
happens.
So you
I
shoot
think that's a terrible idea.
you
Oh,
shoot
I will
an
stop
arrow.
you from doing that.
Oh, sweet.
Wait, you want to stop him?
No.
So your idea for
Yeah,
attacking
this
with
is
a
this is my
dagger-
home.
All right,
game.
so here,
I'm
hold
like,
on.
Well, hold on. Like,
Oh, let's find out. Wait, so here's 6, and then Kuntz is the swifter. So before you're able
Oh, no.
to stop him,
Yes.
Kuntz draws an arrow, and inexpertly, he's no prince with the bow.
I'm
Inexpertly
also standing
plonks an
10 feet
arrow
away.
from a distance of about 20 feet away, and it hisses through the air and thuds into the anemone. And the transition is very abrupt. The anemone's tendrils just begin thrashing around, and it seems like it's spraying water, but instead, what's happening is it's just firing tons of stingers off in every direction. They're just blasting off of it. And Kuntz, what's your
Oh my
dexterity?
god.
Oh,
I'm glad you did that, to be honest. Because imagine if we had walked up and tried to
16
chop it.
dexterity.
16?
It's like a hand grenade
Okay.
going off at a distance.
So you're not sure if it's luck or just reflexes, but as soon as you see like these little beads flying off, just shooting off in every direction, you duck and take cover, and this saves you. Because even at a distance of 20 feet, the anemone are firing back at you, and all over the place, they're just launching these little sort of tiny, they're almost like darts, and they fall around you.
In that,
You get a good sight at one. The darts are essentially about this long, like about an inch long, and they have just like a little poison bulb at the end of it. And they fired off for quite some distance. But fortunately, since you shot at this with a bow from a ways away, instead of just going up and hacking at them, you saved yourself some time because you have you now know that when threatened, these guys fire off darts essentially.
Shit.
How many are we able to visually see how many darts it lost? Would we be able to sort of trick it into shooting
100.
all of its darts
Like it
off?
just fired 100. You could fire another arrow at it, but if you do so, I'd recommend you get back about 40
Let's
about
further away.
40 yards.
Yeah,
or
let's
so.
get back
So I'm
and
gonna
let's line up in a column.
Gonna look where the arrows.
All right,
or the
so-
darts
strategy.
Just to
stopped.
give you an idea of the scope of the problem that you're facing, there, like one, time is of the essence, right? Two, you're being closely observed by the distant winged figures there, and then three, on top of all that, there are probably like 20 or 30 of these things covering the thing. So you would run out of arrows long before you ran out of anemone. There.
Shit.
Well, it doesn't sound like grease.
Maybe
would
grease
do
isn't
anything.
so bad.
Like,
Well,
well, maybe they can't shoot if they're covered in grease. Like, maybe
That's
it's
what I'm
just too
saying.
Sticky.
or
Right.
we could. By the way, grease is flammable. Like you can
That's
set it on
right.
fire. It's like a Greek
Mhm.
fire from
Light 'em
hell.
on fire.
It's napalm.
But they are a water-based.
Well, they're covered with
What's that?
water,
No,
but
it's
their
definitely
integuments
flammable.
are dried out.
Doesn't
I
make
will tell you, like they have been
Yeah.
dried out by just being out here baking in the sun.
Let's
You
torch
wouldn't have
these
to shoot like
motherfuckers.
one
Yeah, I think
arrow
this-
at a time.
So in the
Yeah.
the interest of saving time, grease them and light them up.
Yeah, you could absolutely do it.
All right. So does Angie or Logic? You want to get a fire arrow ready, and then I'll cast grease on them, and I'll try and.
Okay.
Hit
How
'em with
close
the
do you have to
column.
get to cast grease?
It's I think 80 feet. I'm sorry. That's like my standard spell that I pick.
Okay. Yeah. No, I
Grease.
just believe that you can.
Yeah.
I have.
It's
10
the
yards
most
here, but I don't know if
fucking
that's
amazing
range or
spell.
it's-
Okay.
Let me look.
or
I'm looking.
column.
Or maybe someone Google it faster, but
I have the
Um,
PDF, but I don't know if we'll find it.
grease is range is only 10 yards, so we got to get up there. Does anybody have
30
remove
feet.
poison?
I have neutralized poison, so if push, yeah,
30 feet's not too bad.
Yeah,
If we're
30
20 feet
feet.
away,
Okay.
I do have 16 dexterity as well.
All right. So, Kuntz,
it's neutralized poison, so you have to get poison first.
yeah, you.
So you guys
well,
see
but
that.
that's what I was saying. Like, I'll stand in front of him while he casts it or something, and then you can Rempe on
Do we,
me.
have, do we have a shield? Anybody have a shield?
Okay.
We have
So,
we have
um,
a fisk.
Zartet, I'm gonna
We don't have fist to die.
Zartet, what's your
No.
wisdom, real quick?
My wisdom
Mhm.
is 14.
Okay, Zartet, you know that traditionally, anemone do not have eyes, or any way of really. They have,
Oh,
yeah, they have very limited ability to perceive light and so forth. So it's not like this thing is a marksman. And indeed, like when the arrow hit it, it shot these darts in every direction,
Yeah.
just every possible way that it could.
So, all right, so grease it is.
Grease them up.
All right, so you creep up closer. and
We're
like
going in.
grease rains down out of nowhere, just covering all of these anemones in like a shifting, shimmering rain. Everything is iridescent, and they actually the action of their tendrils moving around only serves to spread the grease across them more efficaciously. So they are all greased up and ready to go.
Angie or Logic.
Here I go.
Ready, aim, fire.
Before they fire, you might want to get away from these.
Yeah, I'm going to step back.
So
In fact, in high school, I did that. I poured this huge line of gasoline,
Mhm.
and I like reached down with my lighter because it was night, and I almost fucking set myself on fire.
Mhm.
So I get it.
It was never too late. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Angie, you are with one shot able to launch a blazing arrow into the heart of the Narrows right here, and then immediately the grease spell goes up, and there is just like a tremendous amount of hissing and fizzing, and just the outer layers of the anemones is completely singed and burned off, and it's like actually not a terrible smell. To tell you the truth, it's just smells like burning oil, but it's not.
It was like fried shrimp.
It's a little. It smells a little bit like fried conch, to tell you the truth. But I would recommend against eating any of the anemones there. So yeah, you all watch the anemone burn, and Fisk stays like just like watches the fire and just immediately backs up even further than the rest of you there. Somewhere
I'm
along,
watching the sky.
yeah, somewhere in his life, the bear learned to beware of fire. But eventually the fire burns down, and your stratagem has worked. The anemone are withered and blackened, and no longer seem like much of a threat there. However, you do have to make it across the narrow section there, and essentially, you would have to walk in single file as you're going across. So
I'll walk first.
if you're ready to cross,
I'll take
okay.
Dale.
So Logic, you're going first, and then what is the sequence that you're going in?
Well, me first, I guess.
No.
Yeah.
I'll be in the very back.
All right, Kuntz at the rear.
Fisk.
First, second
Okay.
with Fisk.
You know, second with Fisk, and then that puts
I'll be
you
penultimate
Zartet
there.
Okay. So
That's a good
even though the anemone are scorched and dead or dying, it is still tricky going across this. The whole bridge is covered with essentially boiled jelly from the anemones.
Is there any way I can take like some of these poisonous things that they shoot?
They are essentially useless for your purposes, and you would probably be poisoned handling them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, but good. Yeah, good notion. Like free poison darts, but no, just the configuration of these things, they're pretty small. So you would have like no way to really throw them, and you don't like the looks of the like poison bulbs that are attached to them. Yeah, and almost certainly
I'd like rub some arrows in them or something.
if you had all day, but time is running out.
Oh yeah.
And so it actually took
we gotta go.
quite a bit to figure this whole thing out. You guys are now at 4 hours into your way as you're fording across the greasy and slimy bridge right there.
The
So-
narrows.
It's going to take a dexterity check to make it across this bridge without slipping. One by one.
Son of a bitch.
Just
yeah,
one.
just one to make it across there. So Logic, you're the
For
first
this
one.
hour. Okay.
Well, oh god, 16.
Okay, 16. So
Oh god.
maybe it is
Well,
hubris. Which
So here's the
befalls
thing.
you.
If we know this,
Yeah.
if we go into this knowing this,
You're
maybe
going
we
into
can
it-
tie each other off.
Tie each other off with ropes. Do you think you have time to like set up ropes and stuff?
Oh god. I mean,
Also, I will
No,
state
I
that
can
you
tell.
set off across the bridge before thinking this. Maybe it's as you are.
Son of a bitch,
Maybe it's
as
as you're
I'm
turning
falling.
back and be like, "Hey, maybe we should use a rope," and then you just slip and fall
oh god.
into the slime. And there's grease and there's jelly and so forth. And so you guys see Logic go down. Logic, everything about this stinks. It's like you have been stung all over by dozens of jellyfish. You are immediately in immense pain. So you guys see him go down first, and
Be careful.
you
Oh my god.
you actually are at a point where any sound that you make is going to be a scream, and you're just trying to hold it together. So very painfully, you rise up, just with every inch of your skin, and it's at the point where you go down that the sort of winged the winged attackers decide that now is the time, and one of them
Hold on.
goes into a
before-
dive to try and attack the Logic. You can hear like a cry overhead of some bestial sound, and one is diving towards Logic. Zartet.
I'm yelling at Kuntz like before the demons do what they do. That I've heard pray tell that urine eases the pain of jellyfish stings.
it's
It is in fact true. I
very
have
true.
pissed on my friend.
Mhm.
Just carry
Literally.
vinegar.
Okay.
Just carry vinegar.
Or just piss on your I mean, what's the prize? It's just piss.
No, just carry vinegar when you go to the beach.
All right.
I've literally pissed on my friend's foot.
Well,
Okay, so
Pissing or not,
fucking demon
so-
guys are.
Zartet is
Yeah.
you guys are so Logic was the first one to venture out here. So you see him slip and fall into the ichor, and immediately he is in
damn it.
agonizing pain. There's one darting towards him. Oh no, we lost. Who did we lose? Oh, we lost Logic.
Logic.
Potentially, his computer machine has fallen. Now I'm playing as Logic. So
Sorry, guy.
That's fine. Linux. No, it just says that to everybody's camera. It's not just the Linux. Okay, so Logic, for right now, you are down for the count. There is at least one winged attacker dive bombing towards him. So Zartet, Kuntz, and Angie, you have the chance to react in. Let's see. Kuntz, you get to go first. Zartet, you get to go second, and then Angie, you get to go third. And then, yeah, Kuntz is like swift there. And I will tell you that there are more of these things sort of wheeling around behind you. But right now, you're caught in the immediacy of the moment. One is dive bombing towards your friend Logic, who is in considerable agony.
How close of a group are we right now? 'Cause we were
So
following
you guys,
one
yeah, you
behind
were
each
following
other,
behind
or
him.
were
You guys
we
were like essentially in single file. Logic is only about
just single
like
file.
yeah, like 5 or 10 feet ahead of you.
Did we make it across?
7 dwarves.
Okay.
No,
let's-
because everybody
Whoa.
has to roll a check.
So, should we go across and then fight, or fight before going? How many birds are coming at us?
Right now, there's
By
just the
looking
one
at it.
dive bombing towards Logic. And I turned Kuntz up a little bit. People were having difficulty hearing you because
Oh.
I turned you up because I had you wait out. Do you think the hair was covering the mic?
I don't know.
Oh, now I have to turn you down again because now you're very loud.
Because I want to spare my
That's
spells.
so metal.
I'm gonna use a bow and arrow and just take a shot,
It's
even
so
though I'll
metal.
probably miss.
All right, so you are taking a shot with the bow at the black figure darting down towards him. Huh. So your shot is
I do
actually
have 16 dexterity.
yeah, but you're not a trained bowman.
No, yeah.
It's a very difficult shot to make. You almost hit him. In fact, like you surprised me by like how close your shot
Scare
gets.
him off.
But it doesn't seem to deter him because he is in full dive bomb mode. Zartet, you have a
Shit.
chance to act.
And the inside of the craft was very, very
Um,
simple. There were places for the
Where's that?
entities to sit.
Hold on.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
That was my
No.
bad.
Oh, God.
It sounded like a nature channel on Amities.
I was trying to go to
Like,
D Live and I
Jesus
still
Christ.
had that,
Yeah,
that channel up. So
Yeah,
my
fucking
Fucking
yeah.
John Biden.
bad. I'm on D Live.
All right, cool.
So the he's dive bombing. How far above Logic is he?
So right now he is probably You have about 2 seconds to react. He's going to hit logic in 2 seconds. He's like coming down very fast.
I'm gonna chuck the spear at him.
Okay.
I've been walking with the spear this whole time.
Yeah. You throw the spear. Where did you get the spear again?
This
long time
spear
ago.
came from when we fought that lady and her boys down by the seashore.
Oh wow!
In the
And
cave.
you've carried this. You've carried the spear all this way.
Yeah.
He had it for the pig.
Okay.
Like it's
Yes,
not
I remember the pig.
So the spear goes flying into the ocean. Yeah, like unfortunately, it just you throw it right in the ocean, and you do not hit the guy. So this is all split seconds right here. Angie, you have a second to try and act.
Is he far enough away that I would take a shot, or should I get out the sword?
You have the bow in your hands. You can take a shot, but you don't have time to draw a
I'm
sword.
just gonna take a shot.
Okay, and take a shot. No, hold on. Is that me making that noise, or is that somebody else here?
What's
What
that?
noise?
There's a
I
deep,
don't-
low hum.
It's you. I don't
Okay.
hear shit.
I don't hear anything.
I'm praying to God, the laughing star.
Oh wait, where the fuck is this sound coming from?
I turned my stuff down and there was still a
Maybe
noise.
it's
I don't think
there's
hear
a
anything.
Brooklyn hum, like the Taos hum,
Hold up.
except it's in Brooklyn.
Let me see.
It's a psyop.
Yeah.
It's a fucking
So it
CIA
was
psyop.
a theremin that just decided to go off. Those things are sensitive. Yeah, like, but you guys couldn't hear it because it's not coming to
No.
this channel. But the audience could hear like.
You can play those with your penis, though.
Huh, you can play it with any part of you. Yeah, they we all generate an electrostatic field constantly, and that's what they play off of.
Fun fact.
Yeah, this is fucking amazing. Okay, so Angie, you are the last chance to stop this demon thing before it hits Zartet.
Bisbee's blade.
Me.
It hits logic.
No. Your arrow also flies wide. It's just very difficult to hit a. It's very difficult to
He's
hit.
dive bombing, so it's
I go
Yeah,
from
yeah. Okay.
to fucking
So Zartet, as you're writhing around in anemone poison that is a little bit diluted by the fact that it's been burned up, you are struck by a winged form. Okay.
Can I? Do I have the, in the split second? Do I have the mental capacity to draw my dagger so it lands on my fucking dagger?
None of the above. You
Okay.
are in panic.
Okay.
So you are struck for a force of 3 damage, and then immediately
that's not too bad.
talons sink into you, doing another 3
Oh.
damage. And you're being like raked, and now you're sort of wrestling.
I'm being what?
You're being raked by its talons, and now you are wrestling
Okay.
and writhing in the poison with this. And immediately, like when it when the two of you are grappling, now the poison's getting on it, and it's shrieking and beating its wings.
Nice fucking
And
piece of shit.
it's in all kinds of trouble too. So now more of these things are dropping down and beginning to attack the rest of you. So
Shit.
5 more
Sorry,
have
guys.
engagement, Scott. So now you're closer and you can see this looks like a cross between a bat and a human being. It's just as if somebody has been like cross. It's like almost like a weir bat or something like that. But it has like sort of the horrific smushed in rodent face and fangs and just big leathery wings. So fortunately, Logic, for you, what's your strength?
My strength is 13. A little better than normal.
Okay. So you begin to grapple with this bat, and immediately you realize that you are much, much stronger than it. Its
Nice.
bones are hollow, and you are able to essentially, like you're just in a fit of fury, you are able to essentially tear it to pieces with
I
your
was-
bare
yeah.
hands.
Oh,
I was gonna
Demon Slayer
smash it in
gonna
the
slay.
fucking head.
Yeah. So another bat is dive bombing towards you, Zartet. It misses and smashes into sort of the ground at your feet. Then another one is coming for you, Kuntz. This one
How many
strikes you.
are there?
So like there were a bunch of them sort of flapping and flying around. You can't tell how many are attacking because you are covered in stinging goop and ripping a bat apart with your bare hands. So Kuntz, one hits
be
you, and you get your arms up in time to kind of like hold it back, but you are struck for 6 points of damage by the dive bomb, and then immediately it begins raking you, and because you're not wearing any armor or whatever, it's able to really get in there with its claws. You suffer another 6 points of damage just from being attacked by this thing, and is continuing to latch onto you from behind and biting at you. So Angie, 2 are diving at you. One hits you. The other one misses. The one that misses just immediately dashes its skull apart on the rocks. But the one that hits you,
that's what I was worried about.
Strikes
That's
you
exactly
for 6 points of damage, and then it claws you for another 3 points of damage, and it is like wrapped around you and attacking you.
What was the first amount of damage?
So you took 9 total points of damage. Okay, and there are more of these things coming.
There are probably a fucking shitload more.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so
How large are they again?
they're about the size of a man, but they are light. They only weigh about 40 or
Well,
50
like
pounds.
fruit bats, almost like
a little
large.
bit. Yeah, they're pretty big though. I'd say their wingspan is like about 8 feet.
But they're just like
Control
kamikazing themselves at us.
Yeah, they're just jumping down at you. Okay, so logic. Right now you are covered in stinging slime, but you have enough of your wits about you to act. This is after you just smash apart that thing. So your friends are on the other side of the slime. You have almost made it across the other side of the narrows. So you can decide if you want to...
No, I'm going back to my friends. I mean, we have to form a security...
Yeah, you must check your dexterity again.
I will do that.
Just as slimy as it was. Okay, this time you've gotten the knack of walking on this slime, and you no longer have to take checks. So you begin running back towards there. That's your action for right now. So Zartet, you get to act next. You can see that both Kuntz and Angie have like these bat things on top of them. And then now you see that several of them are simultaneously dive bombing Fisk the bear.
Shit.
Fisk, on the other hand, seems to have this like...
Fisk wearing armor?
Yeah, he's wearing
on
bear barding.
Can I look up and see, like, I mean, are there 10? Are there 100? Are there 1,000? Are there 10,000? Like, how many of these fucking things are there?
You can see about 20 of them total. But that's just a guess. There might be more in the clouds.
Sure.
And so far, I think 3 of them have died, and then 2 are actively attacking. You see 3 attempt to dive bomb Fisk, and it's almost comical. They just bounce off of him, and then he just like flattens them. He's trying to get in at the thing that's attacking Angie, but Angie is like moving around and so forth, and it's at a point where he can't really swipe her without hitting her. So yeah, he's not able to assist. He's a bear. So Zartet, you have the option to act.
All right. Can I cast Spiritual Hammer and use it in the same turn?
I don't know. That's one you would have to check the player's.
Well, I don't read that it does. It just requires concentration.
Yeah.
What level is that?
I'd say in the moment, you can definitely cast Spiritual Hammer and swing it in the same turn. Especially now that you no longer have your spear.
Right. All right. It has a range of 70 yards, so I'm just going to cast it like...
What are you trying to hit
with it? I'm going to cast it as close to the bats as possible. So it creates like a spiritual, like actual physical hammer thing that could go around hammering stuff.
Okay, so you're creating a hammer. Where are you trying to hit bats? Are you trying to like hit bats in the sky?
So
or
if Fisk is handling his bat guys, whichever is the most immediate threat, is that Logic, Angie?
so
Kuntz?
there's a bat stuck to like both Angie and Kuntz, but if you try to hit them with a hammer, there's a pretty good chance you'll hit the person who's being attacked and not the bat.
Sure. I mean, I'll take that.
You take that
risk.
chance. All right, who are you hitting? Kuntz or Angie?
Well, I'm not hitting either of them. I'm
Okay,
hitting the
you're
bats
trying to
that
hit
are
the
on
bat
them.
that's on them. My
I'm gonna go.
my gut feeling is
I'm
like,
gonna go with Kuntz.
yeah, my gut feeling is he needs your help a little bit more. All right, let's take a swing with a spiritual hammer at the bat. So you're partially successful in not hitting Kuntz, but partially unsuccessful in wailing on Kuntz. What damage does spiritual hammer do?
I've been looking for it, but it must be not in my edition of the PHP.
I'm gonna say it's probably
Player's
2d4
Handbook,
or
sorry.
something like that. So
It usually says there's no saving throw. The spiritual hammer's chance to successfully hit is equal to that of the cast without any strength bonuses, with a bonus of +1 for every 6 experience levels.
Okay.
Are you on page 448?
It's a pre-spell. I don't have the PDF up if
Yeah.
someone else does.
I have the
Oh.
PDF up.
It's
I was looking
spiritual
at wizard
hammer.
spells. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just need to know
I
what
didn't-
damage the sucker does.
I'm looking for the damage.
I'm looking. Pre-spells. 4th level.
I think it just does whatever damage a hammer does.
I think a hammer is like d6. Maybe it's d8.
So it's
Second level
+1
spells.
for
A mace is
every
d6,
6
I remember.
experience levels.
Yeah, I think a
Spiritual
mace.
hammer.
So,
So
it
it's
gets a
one-
+1.
That's interesting, though. It doesn't say what
1d4 +1 on man
points
size.
on opponent of man
But
size or
there's
smaller.
also one
Yeah.
+1 for each 6 levels of experience.
Okay. Well, that makes it super easy. Okay. So fortunately, it rolled a 1 because you're
Oh,
taking
no.
some of the damage here. The hammer smashes the force of Zartet's spiritual energy manifests as a blue plane of force and smashes into the bat that's clinging to your back. But you take some of the pass-through damage there, Kuntz. The bat is slain, but you take a point of damage.
It was a
As it
love
smashed
tap.
against you, and you're momentarily stunned because the blow was sharpened towards the back of your head. So, Angie, you are wrestling with this this bat. What's your strength?
$15.
Okay.
Wow, Jesus.
Yeah,
So-
I'm strong.
Yeah, it's strong, but unfortunately, it's not enough to dislodge this guy. You're ripping at him and trying to like pull him off, but your fingers can't find purchase on it. Just clumps of fur and stuff are coming away. So it's trying to bite you with its fangs, and it does another 6 points of damage, and now you're
God.
bleeding.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, you're still batting at this thing, and now you just feel yourself struck from behind, and Fisk has decided to join the fray. So you're knocked forward by his claw, but the bat is just like blasted off of the back of you, and the next thing you hear is Fisk just tearing it apart, like the plates of his armor are like clanking, and a bunch of bats continue to dive bomb him, but they are it's like men running at a tank. They're completely ineffective, and they can't get through his armor, and he's just tearing them apart. Okay, so Logic, you are, as you're moving forward towards everybody there, another one is coming at you.
Okay.
And it strikes you from
I'm
behind.
going to dodge.
Yeah. Okay. It strikes you from behind before you're able to get out of the way there. And you are knocked forward and fall, like essentially, like you're cartwheeling and so forth. The force of being hit from behind sends you sort of scraping over the surface to the edge. So you take 2 points of damage from being hit, It doesn't have time to get talons into you because it goes sliding forward, and you take another 2 points of damage from grating along the rough surface of the Darameus,
Ow.
and you have to scramble to keep from being knocked over into the ocean and into the anemones below. So this is where we need your dexterity. You have 16?
Yeah, I do, yes.
Okay. You are scrambling for your life, and you are able to cling with both hands onto it while the bat is caught in a spot of leftover grease and goes sliding off into the anemones. And the next thing you hear is its high-pitched screams as it's being stung and ultimately
We
slain.
have to get as close as possible. We have to create one target instead of 4.
Yeah. Well, you're hanging by just essentially your fingertips at this point over the side of the Darameus, and with like the water has
The
receded.
arrows.
Yeah. So it's been about 4 hours since you guys set off, which means that the drop is about 10 feet down into the ocean there, and yeah, you do not
And we
want.
will surely die if we go into the drink.
It's not going to be healthy for you. Maybe
Okay.
maybe your friends can like winch you up with a rope, but yeah, it's anybody going overboard is in terrible danger here.
Sorry, I gotta mute myself. I got fucking choppers coming.
No shit. They finally caught up with you, huh?
I mean, I have a wooden ring and I lost my spear.
You have a wooden
I might
ring.
just-
You're unarmed. Well, the spiritual hammer, is it just one strike, or you get to continue attacking with it?
It's as long as I could concentrate on it.
Okay. Well, you're
For
still
whatever
concentrating.
the level is.
Okay. So, Zartet, you have a sense of something coming at you, right? And one of the creatures is dive bombing towards you. You wheel around and try to strike it with the hammer. Okay.
I have it for 10 rounds.
You have it for 10 rounds? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You don't manage to strike the creature. Like it's just it's coming down too fast. What's your dexterity?
14.
Okay.
Sorry, 13.
13? Okay. Well, in either case, you're not able to get out of the way. So you are struck by a dive bomber. Fortunately, it seems like their numbers are thinning out a little bit there. So you take 2 points of damage from being struck, and immediately it latches on and starts tearing at you for another 3 points of damage. And it is latched onto you.
Okay, do I have to make a check to see if I keep concentration?
You can attempt to keep concentrating, or you can try to fight this thing off.
I'm going to keep concentrating for now.
Okay, you keep concentrating on the spell, and it's latched onto you.
If I'm given the choice. And I don't have to
Logic,
roll for
you
it.
are trying to pull yourself up by your fingertips, but Kuntz, you have the chance to act here. So you're a little bit dazed. You've been struck in the back of the head. Here's what you can see. You see that Angie is down. Zartet has like a bat like clinging to him. Logic is like hanging on by his fingernails from the. Let me see.
Is Angie being attacked, or is she just
Hold on.
down?
God, Astro, why do I have to ban you from like every single venue?
What's he doing?
He's just like a creep.
What
Yeah.
do you think he's doing?
I think he's lusting after me. Yeah. Fucking Astro.
I mean,
God.
Anton Semite.
Oh, okay.
That's actually a good one there. I like Anton
It's pretty
Semite.
good, but I mean,
Yeah.
what do you think he's doing?
He's just always.
Well, I checked IRC. I didn't see anything in there.
Yeah. I just so tired of Astro. But Anton Semite is pretty good. I like that one. All right, let me get
So
down to
is
it.
Angie being attacked, or is she just down?
So Angie has been knocked down, but she is in okay shape.
Okay,
And then
I'll go help Logic then.
Okay. Oh, cool.
Oh, thank you.
All right. So with Kuntz giving you a hand, Logic, you do not have to make a check. He is able to pull you back up onto the thing. So you guys
Thanks,
recover
bro.
there. So Angie, you've recovered from being whomped by a bear, and can now act. There is a creature attacking Zartet, and it looks like there are 3 more of them circling that might soon like dive down and attack you guys.
Well, I would like to assist Zartet.
Okay. So how do you want to assist him? You can try to make a strength check to tear the bat thing off of him before it can bite him. You
Yeah.
can like try to hit
I
him
wanna
with
do
a
that.
sword or something. Okay, cool.
You can give him a compliment and help boost his self.
What's your strength, Angie?
I want to tear it apart.
Air
strength?
support.
Yeah.
16.
We believe
Okay.
in you, Zartan.
You-
you could see,
So-
Angie, you could also see my like hammer looming
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
By the way,
The dive
I just
bats.
want to tear them apart.
The dive bats are possessed of an almost unnatural
Oh.
strength, and when they latch onto something, it is incredibly hard to pull them off. But Angie is one of the strongest members of the party, so she's able to just tear this thing off of Zartet and then slam it to the ground and break it like a toy you don't want anymore. So Zartet, it's pulled off. Zartet,
Mm.
I'm going to roll to see if you were able to maintain concentration throughout this. You were. There are 3 bats circling in the sky. You have a chance to attack one of them if you'd like.
yep,
Okay,
swinging with
spiritual
that hammer.
Okay. The plane of blue force cuts across the sky and just bats one of the bats out of the sky. It goes flying into the ocean, broken.
Sweet.
Okay. Then Kunz, you and Logic have got up. Another bat has not learned from the other bat and tries to attack Fisk the bear. It goes about as well for that bat as all the other ones. Fisk annihilates it. And then the final bat is circling overhead, and it sees that it's the last one. And it turns course and
Once
begins to
done.
fly away. So Logic, your bow is like dropped in slime right now. The Kunz, you're the only one who has a chance to do anything. So the bat creature is flying away across the Deramaeus.
Get it.
You have the option to act if you'd like.
Do we
Hammer
need to
Brothers.
attack it?
It's up to you if you want to attack it or not.
Wait, I'll shoot one arrow. You never
You're
know.
gonna fire an arrow at
Yeah,
it?
give
All
it
right.
a shot, man.
All right, so it's
Literally.
trying to fly away.
Critical hit.
Oh no.
Kunz, you shoot an arrow right up its asshole as it's flying away. It shrieks and then flaps more and then flies down and crashes into the Deramaeus. Good shot. God damn.
Oh yeah, nice.
Teamwork, guys. Teamwork.
Okay.
Angie's
It's
old
pretty
bow
ridiculous.
for MVP.
Yeah, wild. Yeah, you're not even trained with the use of the bow. Everybody can't believe that Kunz has made this shot. Literally, almost
Can we
split this
recover
fucking
any
thing into.
arrows?
We can take the one out that's like lodged in that bat's ass if you want it. So just
Well,
in
I'm
terms
old.
of
I'm out of
recovery of arrows, that is literally the only arrow that is at all recoverable.
Okay.
Everything else has gone off into the drink. So everybody is kind of hurt and bleeding here. There are more
So-
dark shapes sort of on the horizon, but it seems like just that pack of bats took their chance and the other ones are keeping their distance.
So, since I do not have to make a check anymore,
Mhm.
can I aid my companions across the Narrows?
Well, without the now that they've seen what happens to people who are like, they're much more careful on the passage across. So everybody is and like, fortunately you don't have to piss on yourself because it seems like the stinger venom that got on you was significantly just diluted by the fact that it was like all burned up. So all 4 of you and the bear are able to make it across. But on the other side, you may want to tend to your wounds. People got pretty hurt
Good berry.
in this
Good
encounter
berry,
with the
yeah.
bat thing.
I do have 1 good berry,
Okay.
so I'm
They're
going to
plus 1 good berries, by the way.
Yeah, so you gain another. Okay, so
So they're worth 2 hit points.
2 hit points. Yeah. You
Oh,
can take
that's
some
good.
time to bandage your wounds and everything on the other side. So, and you take a little time to get there. At the end of this whole thing, 5 hours have elapsed and you've made it across the straits.
Shit.
So you're actually moving fairly quickly across the Deramaeus here. You're only about an hour away from reaching the center of the Darameus, and you've made it across the Anemone Bridge with an ingenious combination of your abilities. So well done there.
If we're only an hour away, can we see the center of the Darameus yet?
You
I mean,
can
since
see,
we're climbing over coral.
so you're climbing over coral and so forth. You are beginning to see, but you're not quite there. Like you can't see what all has happened there. One thing that you can see
Okay.
from this distance is it seems like the midway has risen up a little bit. It looks like a hill where normally it was like a flat plain. And that's it for today. So everybody, you have survived this encounter. At our next adventure, you will make it to Midway and see what's going down at the center of the Darameus. All right, well played, everybody.
yeah.
Thank you to everybody who tuned in. Once again, that's Angie, Kuntz, Logic, and Zartet. Thank you especially to Zartet for that thrilling
shout out to
recounting
Jordan
of our
O.
adventure. Yeah, shout out to Jordan O. Tripping out on Zartet's background.
Love that guy.
And I
Hi,
saw
Jordan.
Shout out Jordan.
I saw Irzinger Söderberg there a little bit earlier. And yeah, thanks for joining our gay adventure. And there'll be another one next week. Dun-dun-dun.